Welcome into Northside Territory, Foul Territory Network's Cubs podcast. I'm Sahadev Sharma with my partner, Patrick Mooney. We are your Cubs beat writers over at The Athletic. And Patrick, just when we thought things may slow down for the holidays, the Cubs throw a curveball here. Sammy Sosa is back in the fold. What does that mean? It means that he released a statement apologizing. I think there was a apologize in the statement there. It was kind of vague. He said he did all he could to make sure he could get through a 162 game season. Never did anything illegal, but probably some things that weren't right. I don't have the exact phrasing in front of me. But he didn't come out and say I made mistakes and I apologize. I never broke any laws, but in hindsight, I made mistakes and I apologize. So I think I think we know what he's talking about. And Tom Ricketts soon after released a statement that basically said he's welcome to come back to Cubs convention, extending that invite. This is a big moment. It's a big moment for Cubs fans. I think that's who it's a big moment for. And I think that for me, it's as simple as that. There were a lot of fans from 98 to 2003 that became Cubs fans because of Sammy Sosa. Him being invited back. I think this is at minimum the first step for what I believe should be more, but we'll see what else happens. We can talk about that eventually too.
Yeah, this is just me speculating. I still need to see him actually show up at the Sheraton Grand Chicago. There's been so many sort of missteps during this whole process and kind of urban legends about, Sammy doing this interview or that interview. And I think our buddy John Greenberg at The Athletic called it the longest, dumbest running story in Chicago. And that may be a little extreme, but I get what he's saying of just why couldn't this letter, and I'm pulling it up here, released on the letterhead of Aurora Global Consulting, LLC, why couldn't this have been done earlier? It seemed a little disjointed in terms of, kind of Cubs PR reaching out saying this letter that's circulating is authentic and, the team will be coming out with a statement momentarily. Just all of it just kind of weird and awkward, a little bit of a tired story, I would say, from our end. But now, I'm sure the Cubs marketing department is very happy to get Sosa back in the mix to boost an event that can be very hit or miss.
Right. That aspect, you know what? I'm not sure, this is my bad, but how often do we see Sammy Sosa up on the big board? We see all those look backs at the big moments in Cubs history. We don't see him, right? Am I wrong on that? Or do they just, do they still do that even though they hadn't welcomed him back? I'm not remembering any, but that's one aspect. Their marketing obviously is going to enjoy this. For those that don't know, I grew up a Cubs fan. That fandom was relinquished 15 years ago, maybe. But I was 17 in the summer of '98, so a little bit older. I'd already become a fan, but I was about to enter college. I was watching a lot of baseball. And it was hard not to fall in love with baseball in general that summer and just become a Cubs fan. It was a fun summer, obviously. 20 strikeouts for Kerry Wood. The Cubs made the playoffs, things that don't happen. And Sammy Sosa versus Mark McGwire was insane. And just my personal experience was I loved Sammy Sosa. There was some stuff that happened as I got into my 20s that I was I think that love that fans still have for him. Maybe it's because I became a journalist. I don't know, but I don't have that same connection to him that fans that I'm seeing have. It's not there. I think I remember watching him in the home run derby in Milwaukee, and that was before anything kind of came out about him likely doing steroids. And that watching that, I was just this guy's about to pop out of this jersey, and he's hitting the ball through whatever it was called, Miller Park. I don't know if this is natural. And back then, like now, literally, I'm struggling with what to do with my Hall of Fame vote because I've always back then I was like anti-steroids. Then I went through a phase where I'm like, I just don't care. Like, you put them all in the hall. And now that I actually have the vote, I'm trying to like I want to be consistent and I want to be 100% sure what I'm going to do. So I'm struggling with that. I think I'm going to lean towards voting those people in, but um, it bothered me at the time. Like it was like did I just watch something that wasn't real? Did I fall in love with something that wasn't real? And at the time it bothered me, so I think that's why I have this. And then the ending of his time in Chicago, everyone remembers that. I wasn't a reporter then. I think that would have been even harder to cover. Like, what a wild way to leave. That's not great. But this isn't about that. Like, I'm seeing reactions of like people that were like 10, 11, 12 back in 98. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me. And that's when you like truly fell in love with baseball as like a preteen. Like, yeah, like this is a huge moment for you. This is like, and it's so it's like that thing that's just like I don't care. Like we like baseball leveraged all that stuff too. It's not like baseball was like tisk tisk from 98 on. They didn't do anything about it. They let this stuff happen and turned a blind eye to it, and the sport exploded. And like they changed the game. They like it's a tainted era, but it's I mean you look back at those numbers. I try to look back at those numbers. I'm like this is amazing. Like some of this stuff is just crazy, right? Yes, it's tainted, but it's still pretty damn cool. Like what happened, and Sosa was right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think the awkward part is how Sosa seemed to be the only one who had to like wear it to this
Right.
extent of, Barry Bonds is around the San Francisco Giants. Mark McGwire, who did come clean and really, I think show a lot of contrition and benefit from lots of relationships he built throughout the game. I mean, he had multiple major league coaching jobs. Roger Clemens, his son is in the game. Like he bounces
McGuire
around.
said like come spring training or like come
That's
like
right.
yeah.
Because his kid, right? His kid's
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like if he can go to Mesa and hang out around the batting cage, Andy Pettit, I think he's like in uniform as a pitching advisor. Like, why was Sammy the one who was in exile to such an extent? I think part of it was like, he's just not he did not have a lot of allies left in Chicago, meaning how much the organization had turned over. I do think some of that stuff in the clubhouse, how it ended, left some
Absolutely
bad feelings. But at the same time, it just dragged on to such a degree that it just makes you wonder, what sort of advice Sosa was getting, or, why ownership really seemed to draw a line in the sand on this one. Because, I would say the Ricketts family, one of the, good things they do is that team has a really good relationship with its alumni. And like, think of just about any random fourth outfielder or reliever. And like, there's a decent chance they've been to Cubs convention, or they've taken their family to spring training, or, we're on the road and we say, hey, who's that guy? That guy looks very, oh yeah, it's so-and-so. And so for a guy who hit 600 plus home runs to just be, persona non grata is just a bizarre situation.
Yeah, without knowing all the details, you can just look at that and it's silly, right? I'm glad it's over, and I think what was the best part was seeing the reaction online. Normally, social media, I've been trying to avoid it for a while now,
Good call.
but I did go on there just to see, and it was a lot of happy Cubs fans, and I think what's happened, like the timing is weird. Like I agree with you, and the whole rollout was
Yeah, the
so
rollout.
odd.
Yeah.
I don't understand the rollout fully, and I'd like to get some details on it because why was it not like a like if it like
More
what
coordinated,
happened?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why were they not done together? Yeah, none of it doesn't make sense to me. And like just the releasing of the statement, like a little askew the paper. Like, it was like a bad, like when I take a PDF picture and I'm sending in documents for my tax
Yeah.
purposes. It's like that's what it looked like. It was like
Or like
what is this?
filing your expense reports and just doing it without even thinking, like off kilter. And
Yeah,
I sent it into our editing desk at the Athletic, and I was like, "Could you show the letter just so people get a sense of kind of what this was, not just the text on our site in the New York Times font?" And they're like, "Yeah, this is going to work." And then another editor found Marquee, blew it up into a nice statement online with the graphic. And it's like, why wasn't that all done on the front end? Or like, why wasn't Tom Ricketts' statement like, yes, Sammy is coming. Like, we look forward to being part of this panel,
yeah, yeah,
and not like, we know it's late notice, but we hope he can make it. And, we'll see you guys there. Like, just kind
yeah.
of, I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's the perfect ending to
Yeah, that's
this
the only way this
story,
could go,
right?
right? Yeah, yeah.
It's so ridiculous. But it is a semi conclusion in a sense. I agree with you. I guess let's see him there before we really say anything. But he's welcome, so that's all. I think that's the big part. If for some reason he's not there this year, uh, I'm sure when he does finally show up, it'll be a really grandiose event. And I'm kind of curious, like, is that the extent of it? Is it he's welcome
Yeah.
to Cubs convention? But what else? Like, what else is coming? Will he be at Wrigley Field? I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him since I went and watched him play at Wrigley. So it's been 20 years since I've seen this person in person, and like we're both there all the time. He's not. He's not what he doesn't come to Wrigley Field, and like you said, we see everyone there. Like spring training, like all these people are back around. Obviously, Sammy hasn't been invited. I just like what more is coming? Will he throw out a first pitch? Will he sing the stretch? Years down the road, are we going to see Sammy's number retired? Are we going to see like I think this last one, I doubt, but a Sammy statue, like
I don't see that one coming.
There's a Barry Bonds statue, right? There's a Barry Bonds statue. I think there's a Mark McGwire statue.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I could just be completely like I don't go to San Francisco often enough to know.
Well, I was there. I think it was 2023, and I believe it was like Will Clark got his number retired or something like that. Barry Bonds was on the field for that, and like our colleague Andrew Baggerly has done stories over the years of kind of finding Barry Bonds on the backfields or by the hitting cages and getting some of his thoughts on the game and current hitters, and just the fact that Sosa has just been totally out of this orbit. Think back to 2016, right? Of just the players who showed up. I mean, Kerry Woods celebrating in the clubhouse after Game 7 in Cleveland. During those playoff years, I'm pretty sure it was 2016. But like, oh hey, is that Alfonso Soriano? Like, oh hey, what's up, Sori? Like, just the people who would come out for this, and that Sammy Sosa, just the machine that Wrigley Field is now. I mean, Sosa played an enormous part in that. And, you and I did not cover his time there, so we don't have any sort of, animosity towards him. We don't have any bad stories. We also don't have a ton of like firsthand insight, with our eyes and ears of what that kind of circus was like. But I mean, ultimately, to your point, Sahadev, it's just weird that I don't think I've ever seen him in person. And like, I've covered the Cubs since 2010, and you've done it almost as long. So combine the number of years we've spent around this team and, the amount of people we come across, and Sosa had just vanished.
Yeah. In good health, someone in good health, someone, that can easily make it to the park. Yeah. Very, just a kind of weird. I just looked it up. I'm wrong. No statue for Bonds, no statue for McGwire. Number retired for Bonds. Nothing. I'm not seeing it. Like, this is quick Google searches.
Okay.
So excuse the inaccuracies. But it doesn't seem like McGuire got his number retired by Oakland or St. Louis. I didn't see that. But that's, like I said, a quick Google search. But I could see the number retiring happening at some point. Like, a statue is probably a step too far for what, like, just his history, but that, like, just based on what I think the thinking is of ownership and the people that make those decisions, that would be my guess. I think just getting, imagine when he does finally come to Wrigley, whether it's singing the stretch or throwing up.
Yeah,
the first pitch.
that's the big one,
Like,
right? Yeah.
Something that I liked that people were saying is, like, they're celebrating an old right fielder a week after bringing in a new right fielder, and there's a chance that we'll see October baseball. Like, imagine that. Like, for the first time in a while, you and I can say without laughing heartily that, like, okay, maybe I still laugh. Maybe we'll see October baseball in the upcoming season, right? If we do, that would be the perfect time. Like, if you're going to bring out a first pitch, that first home game, that would be nice to see. I think the atmosphere would be insane, and that's the type of thing that generally has been missing, right? Like, we've talked about this over the years. I mean, like, when has Wrigley really been buzzing of late? Like, the first ball game, full ball game, full attendance,
Full capacity crowd,
full
yeah.
capacity. That's the word I was looking for. Full capacity, and Rizzo hit that home run. Like, that was electric. There was something recent. I know that there was a game after a long winning streak or something like that on the road. One of these past 2 years, where they were kind of, they've made those 2 mini comebacks. Outside of that, it's just not been there, and there's no reason for it to be there. This could finally, like, that, I think, takes it up a notch beyond, actually making the playoffs and going into getting, like, making a run. Just like Sammy Sosa throwing out the first pitch before a playoff game or a big game, whatever it may be. Like, that's the type of thing that you can look forward to and be excited for as a Cubs fan. And frankly, like, there's an energy that it gives all of us that when you're in the ballpark and you feel that, and that's been lacking.
It maybe Sammy's been away so long that he will appreciate Cubs convention more, but as you know, it's not the most, like, glamorous event. It always seems to fall on the coldest weekend of the winter, or at least until we leave for spring training. I'm sure it's cold in Chicago in February. We're usually gone though, but, like, it's a hotel, River North, whatever. But obviously, to get back to Wrigley Field, 40,000 fans to kind of soak all that in, I'd imagine that is kind of the big moment that he'd been waiting for. I'd have to look it up, but in order to have your number retired, do you have to be a member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame? Is that sort of the loose criteria? But there's a
for the Cubs.
For the Cubs, I'm not sure.
Okay, that's a good call.
I don't know that. I'd imagine
because Santo, remember, wasn't in the Hall of Fame. He said, "This is my Hall of Fame." He was still alive at the time.
That's right. Okay,
right. So yeah,
you got a Cubs Hall of Fame now. But
there it is. I think we have the newest member of the Cubs Hall of Fame, right? How do you not elect him into the Cubs Hall of Fame after this?
It's just, awkward is the word that, I sort of get it from Ricketts' perspective of, like, look, like, we didn't own the team then. You're kind of walking into this of, like, but also, like, when you buy the team, you get all the history, and some of this felt a little sanctimonious. Like this is the one kind of, like, clear, bright line that we're not going to cross. And I always thought the easiest thing was just to bring him back and just have him do a 20-minute session in the dugout, in the old dungeon, the new interview room, the dungeon interview room, basically a utility closet in the pre-renovation era at Wrigley Field, and just, give people a heads up. All the TV stations can be there. ESPN, Marquee now, the Marquee's precursors as well. And just have him just sit there, and then he can answer whatever he wants, whatever he doesn't. Then it's just done. That just seemed pretty simple to me. And instead it became these behind the scenes negotiations and trying to, get it to a place where everyone, felt comfortable to come out with it. And then we had Thursday's awkward rollout. So it's going to be interesting. You know what I mean? It's all right, let's see what happens here. I think we could have a couple entertaining stories come our way, Sahadev.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think this is the end of things when it comes to the Cubs and Sammy Sosa. And you're right, those pressers, I'm going back in my mind, and I remember that in succession, Pettit, Jason Giambi, Mark McGuire, so awkward. It was all awkward, but it happened, and we all moved on.
And that's it's asked and answered. You can't go up to someone all the time and ask them the same exact thing. It's just address whatever it is. And it did seem like he had public sentiment on his side. I think there was kind of a softening of look, enough time has passed. This is kind of ridiculous. And I don't know. As John Greenberg wrote, this guy might have made more money for the Cubs than anyone, more than Harry Carey, Theo Epstein. I'm not sure about that, but certainly among the just, figures who made Wrigley Field what it is now, just that, thumping ballpark, just a thriving neighborhood, the scene that WGN and national TV blasted out to the entire country. Buster Posey said it when he took over the Giants, they're in the memory making business, and Sammy Sosa did that over and over and over again. Yeah, there are images that, are just implanted in your brain if you watch Cubs baseball during that era. Whatever it may be, the hop, certain playoff hits in '98, I believe, the flag coming out there after 9/11, just a lot of stuff. And just him always giving love to the right field bleachers, folks. And there's so many things that it's hard to forget him. And it's nice that this part, we can move past this part. Like you said, there's likely more coming. Whatever it is, we'll deal with it when that comes. But I don't think this is the last we hear about stuff regarding Sammy Sosa. I'm just very curious to see how it all comes out. We'll know about a month from now is Cubs convention, right? So soon enough, we'll see. We'll be getting that list of attendees and see who's coming. That's it for this episode, folks. We'll have more during the holiday week. Christmas is coming up, and we'll have a couple episodes for you that week. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe to Northside Territory, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and subscribe to The Athletic, where Patrick and I are on top of all things Cubs this winter. Thanks for listening, everyone. We truly appreciate it.